Welcome to Toffee TV. Me and Andy are going to be discussing this fella, Wilfried Zaha. Very, very, very good Premier League player.
Yes.
No question about it. Very direct, loads of tricks, likes a dive as well, to throw in the odd dive. Does get kicked though as well. I have to say that he does get some harsh treatment. But this, I wouldn't say this has come out the blue, but what I would say is the story has really picked up legs and gathered pace over the last week or so that Everton are an option for him. As we understand at the moment, Dominic King reported, as well as a few other journalists, Everton made a bid of more than £50 million for Wilf Zaha, which was turned down by Palace, unsurprisingly. I mean, first and foremost, what are your thoughts on Wilf Zaha as a player?
He's a very good player. I think, I suppose it depends what how you look at it. You know, last year he played in the Palace side with the ghost of Christian Benteke up front and Sorloth and Andre Townsend. They had a decent season, to be fair for him, but he's usually very in and out, isn't he? 10 goals, 5 assists, won 5 penalties on top of that. So, you know, if you score all 5 of them, I suppose you can, they're a type of an assist, I guess. But he's a good player. You know, he's dynamic, he's fast, goes away from players very easily. I was watching some stuff this morning. You know, Liverpool just couldn't contain him last season. Just absolutely give both the full-back and the wing. Like, you know, just couldn't get near him. And on the counter-attack, the style we played last season, he's perfect for it because he's so fast, direct. He can make space. If you look at Van Aanholt benefited a lot from playing with Zaha last season because he opens a lot of space. Because most of the time, because Palace are a one-man team in a lot of senses, he takes 2 defenders with him everywhere he goes, and then so it helped Dean as well in that sense. But yeah, I think the price is the only sticking point with me. I think. Is he worth 60 million? And I think I've said this on Twitter. He's not probably, but for 60 million, he's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed to get us 10 goals and 5 assists next season, but he's going to step in day one and be able to play straight away. He could be that difference between getting into Europe, and I think that's what they want. They want someone who's going to come in and play straight away. And I think what's happened this week and why it has become more of an option is Everton probably thought, you know, Arsenal want him, maybe going to Arsenal. And then what's happened is they thought, hold on, we might have a bit of leverage here because Pepe's now going to Arsenal. Palace probably thought resigned to selling him, but now maybe we can get him for cheaper. That's probably what the
Everton were very interested in him last summer, Marco Silva's first summer. They liked him. I think he was too expensive then. I think he's quite expensive now. But it's like you say, he's Premier League ready, isn't he? Plays in the Premier League, so therefore I think every signing's a gamble. Every single signing's a gamble. But I suppose what you get with Wilf Zaha as he comes in, he's a player who's done it in terms of he knows how to cope physically. He's a strong lad. He's quick. He played his part last year. I think Palace won 8 or 9 away games last season. He was much better than at home. Yeah. He was instrumental in that. I remember him at the Emirates. He was terrified.
Yes, that game. Yeah.
Won the penalty at Goodison with Jordan Pickford save from Milivojevic. So, you know, I can understand why people would be excited. For me, I'm similar with you. The fee is one of them. It's quite high. I think I've seen something today with wages. The whole deal would be around £100 million over 5 years. 25 million a year for a player like that. But it's what he brings, I suppose. If Everton get into Europe, we get a little bit of a windfall from that, you know. If he remains at Everton for the 5 years, you know, he could have 2 years and move on again. You just don't know. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. And the whole strategy, and I've obviously banged on about this for about a year and a half now, was to be, you know, under 26. He is 26, by the way, and I know he is 27 in November. People have pointed that out. However, 5-year contract still only takes him to 31. It's not a bad deal. You can still probably sell him off, maybe obviously nowhere near what you're getting him for him. But if the idea of him buying him is to push the team on this season. Because, as I've said, Everton could sign those 5 or 6 young players, try and get them in. It's another transition year then. And I don't think Marco Silva probably wants another transition year. I think he's probably I don't think he's under immense pressure, but the board wants Europe, Machiri wants Europe, we need the windfall. Step targets, that's so a player like him who can come straight in, knows the Premier League, he's not going to have that bedding period. I think the style of football we play will suit him as well. It's probably going to be good for him because at Palace, he's the one that they all look at, is the danger man. The whole game plan is to stop Zaha when you play Palace with Richarlison, Gylfi Sigurdsson, Bernard, any other signings and other players, it takes the focus off him. It basically would be a lot of the time in one-on-one against the fullback, which is what he wants. And I think that we can benefit off that. And his transition speed is unreal. Like if he gets the ball inside his own half, he's near the penalty so quickly. And that's when we got Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front like last season. That's what we were playing off, weren't we?
Yeah.
And having someone like him, it could be really effective.
There's a temptation as a fan when you're going after players to almost be to Crystal Palace, like to sell him. You know, he's let him move for his own sake. But I suppose if you're Crystal Palace fans, be thinking, well, why Everton? You know, they finished a few places above us.
Yeah.
We're Evertonians, so we can look and go, well, we've got the new ground coming, and there's ambition, and we want to be in the top 6 and top 4 and stuff like that. But trying to be objective, you can understand why some Palace fans would be going, well, you know, why would he leave us?
Because they've been told that he didn't leave for Champions League club, essentially, or a top 6 team, I guess you want to call them. But I suppose Everton probably, if he's interested, could have probably sold him where we're trying to with the project. You know, people don't like that way, but that's what we're selling them. We're selling them, you know, what we're trying to do over the next couple of years. And I think he's probably looking at Palace, and this is why Palace probably wants so much money for him, because he can be the difference between Palace getting relegated and not. And I think that's why they want to sell him for so much, because if they sell him for nothing and don't get players into for low and don't get the players in to replace him, then they could be in trouble this season.
For them, though, I suppose, now the other side to it, if they did sell him, they could all arguably replace him with two £30 million players, make the team. But that's the danger, isn't it? The danger when you're selling your best player is that how do you replace him? That is the question, isn't it? We had it with Lukaku, didn't we? We sold the goals, didn't we? Now, the following season, we finished 7th anyway.
Yeah.
We didn't improve our position. Okay, the goals were down. I get that, but positional-wise, we didn't lose out. We finished 7th when he was here. Sorry.
7th last season with him, and then Allardyce next year.
Yeah, so it was one place.
Difference, yeah.
So they could arguably buy two £30 million players and make them better.
The problem they have, though, is when you ask Palace fans, and what I know of Dougie Freeman, is they don't trust Dougie Freeman, who's the head of recruitment, to sign these players. Right, okay. And that's the issue. So we've got Marcel Brands. We probably, with Garner going, for example, we're like, we'll trust Brands, trust him to make the right decision. They don't trust Dougie Freeman, and so that's why you don't want to lose a player like that for Palace fans, because they are unsure if they can get someone of that level to come in and replace what he can do. Now, I think you can. I'm not saying you could probably get someone to score. You get 2 players, 30 million, like you said, 5 goals each. That doesn't sound like quite a lot, does it? But he is essentially their team at times. But I think that's why Palace don't want to lose him, though, because he is so integral and he is a homegrown player and he's been there forever. But I think he probably at 26, 27, it's time for him to, I know the Man United experience, don't happen there. He had the Man United experience, but I think it's time for him to try pushing himself on outside the comfort zone, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether, I wouldn't say he's burnt his bridges, because that's not for me to say. He's a Crystal Palace fan. Yeah, of course. But for him, I suppose, he's come out and said he wants to leave. Apparently, according to London journalists, and they'll know better than us because they're down there, he's apparently said he's interested in moving to Everton. And I think I always look at when there's situations like this, when clubs go in big for players, generally they're getting the right encouragement.
Yeah, they are.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Well, I think his agents probably come to Everton and said, well, now that Arsenal... And I don't think it was second option in the sense. I think that he's a boy Arsenal fan, I think.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
So I think Arsenal were his first option, because obviously I think he likes living in London, obviously, since his hometown, yeah. But when Everton have come, he's probably thought, well, yeah, Everton will probably step up for me, and that's the next route. I know, as you say, Palace fans may not see it that way, but in fact that we are trying to go somewhere. We do want, and maybe it won't be here when the ground's here, it depends obviously on how things go, but we are pushing forward, and I think that's the ambition, which Palace haven't got. Let's be honest, Palace are probably looking to stay in the league most years. They're not looking to push on and win things.
Not at the moment.
Yeah, not at the moment. Depends obviously what goes on, but that's what we're looking at doing. I think he wants to challenge himself in that way. And I think, as you say, with... How to put this? With... Oh, man, it's gone blank now.
Well, what I would say is there's obviously Palace want a better structured deal. Apparently that's where we're at the minute, which is fine. A couple of names have been thrown in who Everton could potentially include. Yannick Bolasie is one. I don't know how Palace fans feel about him. They love him, but I don't know whether the club. But he's I suppose he's a winger who's direct, isn't he?
But do they want to take on a 28-year-old winger who probably wants good money? That's 29. There you go. So that's what I mean. I know we like the idea of being able to go, let's foist all these players onto them, but is that, I know they wanted Tosun.
Yeah, they wanted. Okay, Cenk Tosun apparently did they were interested in him. I actually think he'd score goals for Palace.
Probably with the right service.
I think if you played him in a 2, which they played a lot, I think he'd do all right for them.
Townsend,
And James McCarthy is one.
I think McCarthy's a definite because they actually
really want as well. So there's a couple of players who might sweeten the deal. I don't know whether it'll go any further or it won't. I think Everton are still very much in the running for the likes of Malcolm.
I think you've got to keep your options open because, as you said, the win in the deal was too expensive, wasn't last summer, and probably was a couple of weeks ago. The deal could still be too expensive. Everton might not be able to get Palace below 65 million or whatever, and Everton might go, well, we've got other options there. And you've got to have them other options. And it's not that the lesser options, it's just the different options. More cost effective in some ways.
Would you like to see him at Everton?
If the option was there, yes, I'd like to see him at Everton. If it was my choice, I would probably go for someone younger, just because that's the idea that I want to build a side on. But I totally understand why we would sign him. Yeah, I think if he can add those goals, he can create problems for other teams. He can break teams down for us in tight games. He's a match winner as well. We need more match winners. That's basically, and it creates competition. You've got more competition for the wings now, and that's what we need. You can't have Richarlison and Bernard just saying, it's our team, we're in the team for the whole season. We need that player who can come in.
I mean, I think that the beauty of him as well is he can play through the middle as he's centre forward. He can play right wing, left wing.
Yeah, he can, yeah.
He's quick. I suppose if you're looking at an Everton front line and you've got him, Richarlison, Bernard or Dominic Calvert, you've got real pace and power, particularly away from home, like you said. And I think Everton they were okay at home. I think we won 10 home games in the end last season, which was good for us because we had a big wobble, didn't we, in the middle. But away from home, 4 away wins or 5 away wins.
It's been a problem for about 2 years now, the away.
I'd say more, mate, honestly.
It's been
a while.
Even maybe under Martinez as well, So that ability to play away from home and play on the counter-attack with someone like him who can beat 3 players and cause problems, that's what we need. I know Bernard's a decent dribbler and Richarlison is good, but he's not the most consistent. But that player who can just run through 3 people, create a chance, that's what you need. And I think that's why Silva and Brands would like him, because he can be that player. I'm not going to say a focal point, but he can be someone who can win the matches for us.
Do you think, just very quickly as we finish, do you think that it does go slightly against what Marcel Brands is about? Slightly.
Yeah, slightly.
He's still within the parameters of what he said. But do you think this is one of those deals that is almost too good to not have a go at?
I think that's what's come up. That's what they've looked at. They thought this could be a player that pushes us on this season, and he's still, he's 26, 27. He's 3-4 years, still within the parameters of the 26 and under, I suppose, at this moment in time. I think they've looked at it and thought, that's the type. We need to push ourselves on this season. We could sign a Malcolm. I think they probably like Malcolm and all. We could sign a Traore. They may or may not be able to help us initially. It might be December before they start bedding in. Whereas with him, you're going to hit the ground running. Maybe it might take him time to settle in, albeit. But he knows the league. He knows the play. He knows how Everton play. I'm sure. We watched this last season. I think he'd be ready to step in from day one and play. And I think that's the difference. I think Marco Silva as a manager is probably saying to Marcel Brands, obviously, my job's on the line to see. I need players like this who can come in straight. And that's why we signed players like Fabian Delano. It's a completely different sign since he was only 8 million. But you need that experience, people who can come in and play.
It's great building a team, but you've also got to have some substance in it as well. You've got to have people who can deliver, because then the likes of Richarlison will develop. And if there's other targets who we're going to talk about
more players
on a different video.
Yeah, but the more players we have, players who know the Premier League and can bed in from a race to start the season, then you can add those players who are going to take over the time, and they come on as subs, and you don't need to put them straight in and expect. So it makes it better in that sense.
We'll have to wait and see then. This is certainly a very interesting one at the moment. It's one that has caught some people by surprise. There's a lot of journalists, respected journalists, running with it and think that he still may end up at Everton. So it's going to be an interesting, I'd say, 48 hours. I think if it's going to happen, I think it'll happen in the next couple of days.
I think Palace would be wise to get the money in now and try and get replacements.
Well, if they're going to sell him, they may as well sell him as soon as,
because they need players
and get shut and start working on your own deals. But we'll have to see how determined Everton are to go for him. Obviously, like we've said, Malcolm's still an option. Traore at Lyon is still an option as well. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Do you want Wilf Zaha? Is he someone who excites you? Do you think he can be the difference in pushing Everton on into that, challenging for that top 6 place? If you're a Palace fan, do you just think, why would he go to Everton? Which is fine. Or do you think, you know what, let's move him on and let's, he doesn't want to be here, let's move on and get the replacements in? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want more videos, go over and become a patron. Join the community over there. Big thanks to Andy. See you later.